I, 32F, never thought I'd be in this situation, but here I am. My husband Andy, 34M, and I have been married for 5 years, and we have a 3-year-old daughter, Tiffany. Our story began 10 years ago when we met at a mutual friend's barbecue. I was fresh out of college, working my first job as a junior graphic designer, and Andy was 2 years into his career at a tech startup. We hit it off immediately, bonding over our shared love of 90s sitcoms and spicy food. Our relationship progressed quickly. Within a year, we were living together, and 2 years later, Andy proposed during a weekend getaway to the beach. It was perfect, he even remembered to bring my favorite strawberry champagne. We got married in a small ceremony surrounded by our closest friends and family. My dad, who had been battling cancer, was able to walk me down the aisle. He passed away just 6 months later, making those wedding memories even more precious. Andy was my rock during that difficult time. He held me when I cried, made me laugh when I needed it, and never complained when I wanted to spend hours looking at old family photos. His support made me love him even more, and I thought we could get through anything together. 2 years into our marriage, we decided to start trying for a baby. It took longer than we expected, and we went through some tough times with fertility treatments. But finally, we got the news we'd been hoping for. 9 months later, our beautiful Tiffany was born. She had Andy's blue eyes and my curly hair, and we were both smitten from the moment we saw her. Everything was great until Andy's company transferred him to a new city last year. The startup he'd been with had been acquired by a larger tech firm, and they wanted Andy to head up a new division in their headquarters. It was a huge opportunity for him, more money, more responsibility, a chance to really make his mark in the industry. We decided to move together for his career, even though it meant leaving behind our families and friends. It was a hard decision. My mom was getting older, and I hated the thought of moving Tiffany away from her grandmother. Andy's parents had retired to Florida a few years earlier, so they were already at a distance. But we had a solid group of friends, people we'd known since college, couples we'd met through parenting groups. Leaving them behind was tough. But we thought it would be an adventure. A chance to start fresh in a new place, make new friends, explore a new city. We sold our starter home, the one we'd lovingly renovated together over weekends and holidays, and bought a bigger house in the new city. It had a yard for Tiffany to play in and an extra bedroom we talked about turning into a nursery for a future sibling for her. At first, things were okay. Andy was busy with his new job, working long hours to prove himself in his new role. I was taking care of Tiffany full-time, trying to get us settled in the new house and city. I joined a few mom groups, hoping to make some new friends, but it was slow going. I missed the easy camaraderie I'd had with my old friends, the inside jokes and shared history. But about 6 months ago, Andy started acting strange. He was working late more often, always on his phone, and seemed distant. When he was home, he was distracted, often staring at his phone or laptop instead of engaging with Tiffany and me. Date nights, which we'd always prioritized even after Tiffany was born, became less frequent and then stopped altogether. I tried to talk to him about it, but he just brushed it off as work stress. He said the new position was more demanding than he'd expected, that he was under a lot of pressure to deliver results. I wanted to be supportive, remembering how he'd been there for me when my dad died, so I tried to be patient. Then, 2 months ago, I found out why he'd really been so distant. Andy had been having an affair with his co-worker, Sammy, 29F. I discovered it in the most cliché way possible. A text message popped up on his phone while he was in the shower. "Can't wait to see you later, babe. Last night was amazing." I was devastated. When I confronted him, he broke down and confessed everything. He said it started as just friendship. Sammy was new to the company too, and they bonded over being the new kids in the office. They started having lunch together, then drinks after work. He swore he never meant for it to go further, but one night, after a particularly stressful day at work, one drink led to another, and he swore it was over and begged for forgiveness. He said he'd made a terrible mistake, that he loved me and Tiffany more than anything. He promised to do whatever it took to make things right. I was torn. On one hand, I loved Andy. We'd been through so much together, the joy of our wedding, the pain of losing my dad, the struggle to conceive Tiffany, the excitement of starting our life in a new city. He was the father of my child, the man I'd planned to grow old with. And I wanted to keep our family together for Tiffany's sake. She adored her daddy, and the thought of breaking her heart was almost as painful as Andy's betrayal. On the other hand, I felt completely betrayed. This wasn't just a one-night stand, a drunken mistake. This was an ongoing affair. He'd been lying to me for months, coming home to me and Tiffany after being with another woman. How could I ever trust him again? After a lot of thought, I decided to give him another chance, but with conditions. He had to change jobs. I couldn't stand the thought of him working with Sammy every day. He had to go to marriage counseling with me. We clearly had issues we needed to work through. And he had to be completely transparent about his whereabouts and communications. No more passwords on his phone, no more secret late nights at the office. Andy agreed to everything. He found a new job at a different company, started counseling with me, and even gave me access to his phone and email. For a while, things seemed to be improving. We were talking more, spending time together as a family, and slowly rebuilding trust. The counseling was helping us communicate better, and I started to hope that maybe we could get through this. But last week, everything fell apart again. I was using Andy's laptop to check our joint bank account when I noticed some strange transactions. There were several large withdrawals and transfers to an account I didn't recognize. At first, I thought it might be a mistake, or maybe even fraud. But when I dug deeper, I found emails between Andy and Sammy discussing their plans to move in together. It turns out, Andy never ended the affair. He had been lying to me this whole time, pretending to work on our marriage while secretly planning to leave me for Sammy. He had been siphoning money from our joint account to set up a new life with her. All those late nights at his new job? He was with Sammy? The marriage counseling? Just a show to keep me from suspecting anything. I confronted Andy as soon as he got home. He didn't even try to deny it this time. He just said he was sorry, but he loved Sammy and wanted to be with her. He said he had been trying to find the right time to tell me, but couldn't bring himself to do it. He claimed he still cared about me and Tiffany, that he never meant to hurt us, but he couldn't deny his feelings for Sammy any longer. I'm devastated and angry. Not just because of the affair, but because of all the lies and manipulation. He let me believe we were fixing things, all while planning his exit. I feel like such a fool for trusting him again. All those hours in counseling, all the tears I shed, all the effort I put into rebuilding our relationship, it was all for nothing. Now, I'm left to pick up the pieces. I've kicked Andy out and I'm planning to file for divorce. But I'm scared about the future. I'm in a city where I have no real support system, with a young child to care for, and now I find out our finances are a mess because of Andy's deception. The money he took was meant to be Tiffany's college fund. We'd been saving since before she was born, wanting to give her the best start in life. And now a big chunk of it is gone. I don't know how to tell Tiffany that her daddy isn't coming home. She's only 3, but she's smart and perceptive. She already knows something is wrong. She keeps asking where daddy is, why he isn't coming to tuck her in at night. How do I explain to her that the father she adores has chosen another woman over us? I don't know how I'm going to manage as a single mom in a place where I have no friends or family. My mom is too old to travel easily, and all our old friends are back in our hometown. I gave up my career to move here for Andy's job, and now I'm left with a gap in my resume and an industry that's moved on without me. I'm angry at Andy for putting us in this situation, but I'm also angry at myself for not seeing through his lies. Were there signs I missed? Should I have known better than to trust him again after the first betrayal? I keep replaying every conversation, every interaction in my head, wondering if I could have done something differently. I guess I'm looking for advice on how to move forward. How do I explain this to Tiffany? How do I start rebuilding my life? Has anyone been through something similar? Any words of wisdom would be appreciated. I feel so alone and overwhelmed right now, and I could really use some support. Update 1: It's been a month since my last post, and a lot has happened. First, I want to thank everyone for their kind words and advice. Your support really helped me during those first difficult days when I felt like my world was falling apart. After kicking Andy out, I immediately contacted a lawyer. A friend from one of the mom groups I joined recommended her, saying she'd helped her through her own divorce a few years ago. The lawyer advised me to freeze our joint accounts to prevent Andy from taking more money. I'm glad I did because Andy tried to make another large withdrawal the next day. Apparently, he and Sammy had put a deposit down on an apartment together and was trying to get money for furniture. I also started gathering evidence of Andy's affair and financial deception. The lawyer said this would be crucial for the divorce proceedings and custody arrangements. It was painful going through all the emails and bank statements, seeing in black and white how long Andy had been lying to me. But it also made me even more certain that I was making the right decision. There were messages going back months, long before I first confronted him about the affair. He and Sammy had been planning their future together while he was sitting across from me in marriage counseling, promising to work on our relationship. Telling Tiffany was the hardest part. How do you explain to a 3-year-old that her daddy doesn't live with us anymore? Following the advice of a child psychologist, I explained that daddy made some bad choices and wouldn't be living with us anymore, but that both of us still love her very much. She's been having a hard time understanding, and it breaks my heart to see her ask for Andy every day. She's been having nightmares and has started wetting the bed again, things she hadn't done in over a year. The psychologist says this is normal, that she's processing her emotions the only way she knows how, but it's still hard to watch my little girl struggle like this. As for Andy, he's been trying to backpedal. When he realized I was serious about the divorce, he suddenly changed his tune. He claims he made a mistake, that he got caught up in the excitement of a new relationship but now realizes what he'd be losing. He says he wants to work things out, that he'll do anything to keep our family together. But I'm not falling for it this time. I told him all communication needs to go through our lawyers unless it's about Tiffany. Sammy, Andy's affair partner, actually reached out to me. She claims she had no idea Andy was still with me and thought we were already separated. According to her, Andy told her our marriage had been over for months and we were just trying to figure out the logistics of separating. She apologized profusely, saying she never meant to be the other woman. I'm not sure if I believe her, but it doesn't really matter at this point. The damage is done, regardless of what she did or didn't know. On a more positive note, I've started looking for a job. It's been years since I worked, having been a stay-at-home mom since Tiffany was born. Before that, I was a graphic designer, but the industry has changed so much in the last few years that I feel completely out of touch. I've been taking some online courses to brush up on my skills and learn the new software that's become standard since I left the workforce. It's been challenging, especially trying to find time to study while taking care of Tiffany, but it feels good to be doing something proactive. I've had a few interviews, mostly for entry-level positions that I'm probably overqualified for, but I'm trying not to be too picky. I need to become financially independent, and I figure any job is a good starting point. I'm hopeful something will come through soon. In the meantime, I've picked up a few freelance design jobs through some online platforms. It's not much, but it's helping to keep us afloat and it's good for my portfolio. I've also reached out to some mom groups in the area. It's been nice to connect with other women, some of whom have been through similar situations. They've been a great source of support and practical advice. One of the moms, Lisa, has become a real friend. Her son is in the same preschool class as Tiffany, and she's been through a divorce herself. She's been an incredible help, offering to watch Tiffany when I have job interviews and just being there to listen when I need to vent. My parents offered to let Tiffany and me move back home with them. It's tempting, especially for the support, but I'm hesitant to uproot Tiffany again so soon. She's already dealing with so much change, and I worry that moving her away from her preschool and the few friends she's made here would be too much. For now, I'm trying to make it work here. But I haven't ruled out moving back home in the future, especially if I can't find a job here soon. The divorce proceedings have started, and it's going to be a long process. Andy is contesting the division of assets, claiming he shouldn't have to split everything 50-50 since he was the primary earner. He's trying to claim that the money he took from our joint account was his to begin with since he earned it. My lawyer assures me we have a strong case, especially given his infidelity and financial deception. She says that in our state, the fact that I gave up my career to support his and to raise our child will be taken into consideration. It's been a roller coaster of emotions. Some days I feel strong and determined, ready to take on the world as a single mom. Other days I can barely get out of bed, overwhelmed by grief and fear about the future. But I'm taking it one day at a time and focusing on what's best for Tiffany and me. I'm trying to establish new routines for us, to create a sense of stability in the midst of all this chaos. I've also started seeing a therapist myself. It's helping me process my feelings about Andy's betrayal and rebuild my self-esteem. I realize now that I had lost a lot of myself in our marriage, especially after we moved for Andy's job. I'm slowly rediscovering who I am outside of being Andy's wife and Tiffany's mom. Thank you again for all your support. It means more than you know to have a place to share my story and receive such kindness from strangers. I'll update again when there are significant developments. Update 2. It's been 3 months since my last update, and 6 months since I discovered Andy's betrayal. A lot has changed, and I wanted to share the developments with you all. First, the good news: I got a job. It's an entry-level position at a marketing firm, focusing on digital design. It's not exactly where I was in my career before I took time off to raise Tiffany, but it's a start. The hours are flexible, which helps with taking care of Tiffany. My new boss, Maria, has been understanding about my situation and has allowed me to work from home 2 days a week. It's been challenging juggling work and single parenthood, but it feels good to be financially independent again. The job came through a connection I made at one of the mom groups. One of the other moms, Jenna, works at the firm and put in a good word for me. It just goes to show how important networking can be, even in unexpected places. I'm grateful for the community I found here, despite the difficult circumstances that led me to it. The divorce proceedings are moving forward, albeit slowly. Andy initially tried to lowball me on the settlement, offering much less than what my lawyer says I'm entitled to. He tried to argue that since he was the primary earner, he should keep most of the assets. But my lawyer stood firm, pointing out that my role as a stay-at-home parent allowed Andy to advance his career. We're still negotiating, but it looks like I'll get a fair share of our assets, including the house. Interestingly, Andy's attempts to hide money have actually worked against him in court. The judge was not impressed when we presented evidence of the funds he'd been siphoning off to set up his new life with Sammy. It's looking like I might even be awarded a larger share of our assets as a result of his deception. Custody has been another battle. Andy is pushing for 50-50 custody, but given his history of deception and the fact that he's living with Sammy now, my lawyer thinks we have a good case for primary custody with Andy having visitation rights. We've presented evidence of Andy's inconsistent involvement in Tiffany's life over the past few months, including missed visitations and last-minute cancellations. The judge seems to be leaning in our favor, but nothing is certain yet. Tiffany is adjusting, slowly but surely. She still has moments where she cries for Andy, especially at bedtime, but she's also becoming more settled in our new routine. I've enrolled her in a play therapy program, which seems to be helping her process her emotions. Her therapist says she's making good progress, but that it will take time for her to fully adjust to the new family dynamic. I've also noticed that Tiffany has become very clingy with me. She gets upset when I leave her at preschool and often wants to sleep in my bed at night. The therapist says this is normal given the circumstances and has given me some strategies to help Tiffany feel more secure. It's hard, but I'm trying to be patient and give her the extra attention she needs right now. As for me, I'm doing better. The mom group I joined has been a lifeline. We meet up regularly for playdates and adult conversation. It's nice to have friends who understand what I'm going through. Last weekend, we had a spa day at Lisa's house while her husband watched all the kids. It was just face masks and nail polish in her living room, but it felt so good to relax and laugh with friends for a few hours. I've also started a yoga class twice a week. My mom comes over to watch Tiffany, and those few hours of self-care have made a big difference in my stress levels. It's teaching me to be more mindful and present, which is helping me cope with the ongoing stress of the divorce and single parenthood. One unexpected development: Andy and Sammy broke up. Apparently, the reality of being together full-time, plus the stress of the divorce and custody battle, was too much for their relationship. Andy tried to use this as a reason for us to reconcile, but I shut that down immediately. Too much has happened, and I can't go back to that life of mistrust and betrayal. Andy seems genuinely regretful now. He's been more consistent with his visitations with Tiffany and has even offered to pay more child support than the court is likely to order. Part of me is glad to see him stepping up as a father, but another part of me is angry that it took all of this for him to realize what he had. Looking ahead, I'm cautiously optimistic. It's been a hard road, but I'm starting to see a future for Tiffany and me that doesn't revolve around Andy's choices. I'm focusing on building our new life, one day at a time. I'm even thinking about taking some advanced design courses to further my career prospects. I know there will still be challenges ahead. The divorce isn't finalized yet, and I'm sure there will be ongoing issues with co-parenting. But I feel stronger now, more capable of handling whatever comes our way. Thank you all for your continued support. Your kind words and advice have meant more than you know. I'll update again when the divorce is finalized. Update 3. It's been a year since my original post, and I wanted to give you all a final update. So much has changed, and I'm in a much better place now. The divorce is finally finalized. After months of negotiations and court appearances, we reached a settlement. I got primary custody of Tiffany, with Andy having visitation every other weekend and one evening a week. We sold the house and split the proceeds, which gave me enough to put a down payment on a small condo for Tiffany and me. It's not as big as our old house, but it's ours, and we're making it a home. Financially, things are stable. I'm still at the marketing firm and recently got a promotion to senior designer. It's not easy being a working single mom, but we're managing. I've also started a small side business doing freelance graphic design, which brings in some extra income. It's mostly weekend work when Tiffany is with Andy, and it's helping me rebuild my professional portfolio. Tiffany is thriving. She's adjusted well to our new life and is doing great in kindergarten. She's made new friends and is involved in ballet classes, which she loves. She still sees Andy regularly, and while their relationship is different now, it's good to see them bonding. Andy has been more consistent with his visitations lately, which has helped Tiffany feel more secure. Co-parenting with Andy has its challenges, but we're making it work. We use a co-parenting app to communicate about Tiffany's schedule and needs, which helps keep things civil and focused on Tiffany. There are still moments of tension, especially around holidays and special events, but we're both committed to putting Tiffany first. As for me, I've grown so much through this experience. Therapy has been incredibly helpful, and I've learned a lot about setting boundaries and valuing myself. I've rediscovered old hobbies and interests that I had put aside during my marriage. I've joined a book club and started painting again, something I loved in college but hadn't done in years. I've even started dating again, casually. It's scary putting myself out there, but it's also exciting to think about the possibilities. I've been on a few dates with a single dad I met through Tiffany's school. It's nothing serious yet, but it's nice to have adult conversations that don't revolve around work or parenting. My relationship with my family has grown stronger through all of this. My mom comes to visit more often now, and we talk on the phone almost every day. She's been an incredible support, both emotionally and practically. And I've reconnected with old friends from before I moved away. Modern technology makes it easier to stay in touch, and I'm grateful for these renewed connections. Andy and I have reached a place of civil co-parenting. It's not always easy, and there are still moments of resentment and hurt, but we're both committed to putting Tiffany first. Andy has apologized multiple times for his actions, and while I'll never forget what happened, I'm learning to forgive for my own peace of mind. Looking back, I can't believe how much has changed in a year. There were moments when I thought I wouldn't make it through, but here I am, stronger and happier than I ever thought possible. I've learned that I'm more resilient than I ever knew, and that it's okay to ask for help when you need it. To anyone going through something similar, know that it does get better. It's not easy, and there will be tough days, but you're stronger than you think. Surround yourself with support, focus on self-care, and take it one day at a time. Thank you all for being part of this journey with me. Your support and advice have been invaluable. While this chapter of my life is closing, I'm excited to see what the future holds for Tiffany and me. Comments, User 1, wow, what a journey. You've shown incredible strength and resilience. Your daughter is lucky to have such a strong role model. Wishing you all the best for the future. User 2, I've been following your story from the beginning, and I'm so impressed by how you've handled everything. You should be really proud of yourself. Here's to new beginnings. User 3, as someone who went through a similar situation, I can say it does get better. You've done an amazing job navigating this difficult time. Keep focusing on yourself and your daughter, and everything else will fall into place. User 4, your ex-husband's actions were terrible, but you've turned this negative situation into an opportunity for growth. It's inspiring to see how you've rebuilt your life. Congratulations on your promotion and new home. User 5, the way you've prioritized your daughter's well-being throughout this ordeal is commendable. It's great to hear that she's doing well. You're setting a wonderful example for her of strength and resilience.